Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday, January 30th, 2026. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had an amazing week. As I've said every day that I've jumped on this week, I truly hope that prayer has reached every intention that I've set. And I hope you're getting ready for a wonderful weekend. Today we're going to use the Doll Face deck by the Ghetto Nun. I've only used it, I think, one time on this channel, and it was way back on, like, closer to Thanksgiving, I think. So I was like, I haven't pulled those out in a while. Let me pull those out. So I pulled those out. Here they are. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. I don't have any oh yes, I do. I have a mile, and it don't have anything to do with the cards because I wasn't really looking for a preview in the cards. But just a little side note, maybe a glimmer of hope for a change, a mild change in temperature, perhaps, especially for those of us that are affected by this winter. I was looking around at my plants and I was just observing them, nothing special really, not even watering them, but something just drew me to kind of take a look at some of them. And I noticed to my surprise that some of them are sprouting new leaves and things already, and out of nowhere, so it seems, because I mean, I'm around the plants all day, which, of course, sometimes they can be neglected, but I just noticed today, well, not neglected, but sometimes you don't really notice everything, when things are growing, you don't always see, the process as it's happening before your eyes. So today, I just suddenly noticed, like, oh shoot, this plant is actually thriving. I see new sprouts. I see where new stems and leaves and on multiple plants are coming in. And I just think that's really significant to highlight in a season, literal season such as this, where for many of us it's cold, it's darker, nights are longer, days are shorter, you're more stuck in the house than maybe you care to be, or maybe you like that, but either way, in many ways, sometimes is by default. And everything's just moving seemingly at a slower pace, right? But when seeing that gave me, I don't know, it just inspired me a bit to look forward to the spring, and also in that spring may be coming sooner than it's scheduled to. Like we may actually be looking at an actual early spring in terms of the temperature being a bit milder sooner than, I mean, last year. As a matter of fact, I was looking at my old notes, and when I was looking at the transition through the season of after the season of winter last year, it was like spring could barely get a word in edgewise. Like winter was really holding on for dear life last time around. But I think it might be something different this year. I think we could see, there's an intensity with these storms, and I think there's another one coming. So we're not out the woods, but I feel like before you know it, you're going to look up and realize, oh, it's nice outside. And I'm already noticing, that it's staying lighter longer than it was initially, at the winter solstice when it was darkest. So it's already, daylight's already extending. Foliage it is still thriving even in the winter season, and you can already see the foreshadowing of something new, of something new and something vitally new. So take that as you will, as you continue to stay focused and grounded throughout this season. I hope that you feel optimistic about all that is to come. All right, so let's see what else we have going for us. And the reason why, one more thing I want to share, the reason why that's significant to me is because up until now, the past like year or so, I never really thought that I had a green thumb, and there are a lot of reasons why. Yeah, I bought flowers all the time, but I never really, I don't even want to get into why, but there are a couple of reasons why I didn't think I really had a green thumb. So when I started kind of bringing in plants, slowly but surely, I have been quite intentional about keeping them well, making sure I prune and water properly and making sure that all of them get the proper amount of sunlight and things like that, and switching them around when I need to, or just kind of monitoring how they're growing and thriving. And sometimes you're not always sure that your efforts are actually working. It's like, you even, especially if you have any plants where you particularly lost quite a few, like some volume. Like I have one plant where I lost quite a bit of the foliage. It may be seasonal, I don't know, because I'm still learning about plants and things like that. But it can, on site, it can be a bit of a discouraging visual, because you don't know what else to do. It's not like the plant can really, really talk to you other than by its appearance. So if you don't see the evidence of something growing and thriving and doing well, and actually see it actually growing, and real, because like I was saying, like you can have plants around you or in your house for a long time, and it take a while to realize, like, oh, this thing has grown a lot, like it's much bigger than it was when I first got it. But aside from that, that is actually thriving and not just surviving. So for me to see those little pops of leaves and foliage and things like that, and stems in places that I know didn't exist before, it's like the confirmation that things are, in productive space, or this environment at least is conducive for growing and evolving, so that's a great confirmation. That's why I took it as such an inspiration as someone that wasn't really sure if I was doing a good job or doing that well with my first go at this plant mom thing in such a way. But apparently I'm doing all right. So I feel like that message translates to whatever it is that you may be thoughtful or questionable about at this time, and even connected to my message yesterday in terms of engaging new opportunities and propositions, and gearing up for new expressions of yourself. Like, this is the sign that you've grown beyond your capacity to actually see, visibly observe that growth. And there is so much more, so much greater potential in store as you're on this track, and as you continue to nurture yourself along that path, So shout out to you, pretty much. Shout out to all of us, I suppose, but shout out to you. All right, let's see. Shout out to the 9 for this deck. 6 of coins. 6 of coins, what goes around comes around, pardon me, in the traditional deck. What's she doing? Looks like she has a ladder here. Oh, well, there you go. There's that elevation, promotion, escalation. Right now she's standing at the bottom of the ladder, so I don't know if she's on her way up or coming back down, but there's something significant. Let me lift it up, because you might not be able to see that well. There's something significant about that ladder that's kind of at the forefront. Maybe she's working on something. But the 6 of coins is generally about the past. The past. I'm sorry, that's Six of Cups. I'm sorry about that. Six of Coins is about like community sharing, cause and effects, give and take. Again, what goes around comes around. What's that have to do with this picture? None. How am I to channel that connected to this? Maybe the coming back around, when I said that she might be on her way up, she might be on her way down. Maybe that is, the going around and come. Hey, that makes sense. I don't know if that was the point of this card, but that makes sense. Because with the Six of Coins, it often says that, you could be on top one moment or on the other side the next. So that's why is a what goes around comes around card to me, because it speaks to how life fluctuates, and how in many ways it can be unpredictable, um, or there could be unforeseeable circumstances that shift your trajectory at any time, or put you in a particular position at any time. So it's important, no matter where you are on the scale, on the ladder, that you mind how you carry yourself and how you treat others, because as they say, the same people you meet up could be the same ones you meet on the way down. Not that we're projecting a downward spiral, but you just never know. Down doesn't have to mean rock bottom, and you just never know how you might come across someone that or something that could be of value to you at a different time in your life when you need it most, but it would be based on the initial encounter that you had, or previous encounter that you had, or how you treated a thing before. And this kind of looks like an apartment to me, honestly. I don't know. I just feel like maybe there's, I want to believe that this is an ascended position where she's on her way up the ladder. Like maybe she's going up to fix a light bulb, or to change something, to do something up high, or grab something in the kitchen. I don't know, because that's where it seems like she is. But something's cooking. Something is cooking up right now, and some folks are on their way to a high, an ascended level, I would say, with the ladder here, by the strength of their will. Thanks to the strength of their will is what I'm getting. Because you gotta will yourself and pull yourself up. The ladder is not an electric ladder. It ain't gonna pull you up. So it says to me that there are some things that folks have invested in, have done before the present season, perhaps, ways of investing their time, their energy, even their money, that is putting them in a position to advance at this time. And advance, let's say, in the comfort of their own space. So although she's in a home, maybe an apartment, whatever, it's about being in your creative comfort zone. And I don't mean that in a complacent way, but I mean operating in the sense that you are most operating in the creativity that you're most impactful in. Like not feeling like you gotta necessarily, you're not stretching to be something that you're not. You're not trying to make yourself comfortable in somebody else's house or space, per se. Like, this is all your space. You're managing it. You're taking care of it. You're in a positive position for assistance in that regard, spiritually or otherwise, because of how you have made intentions and investments before this time. So it makes the work, more or less, much more easeful, and fluid than it would, and also productive, not just for you but for other people, like impactful, and maybe even impressionable for you and for other people, because it's from positive stock. Maybe once upon a time, as she's standing down at the bottom of that ladder, someone has experienced being at rock bottom or being at the bottom of a totem pole. That gives a whole nother spin to it when we come to women, Black women, as I can relate personally, you know, being suppressed at a certain level and finally being given the being allowed in many ways. Well, that word is a little tricky because I said it's by the strength of you, by the might of your will. But we know that there have been certain systems, particularly perpetuated to suppress female energy in particular, but anything good for the most part, anything productive, let alone prosperous. And now it's like maybe that resistance is no longer there, and just as soon as she decides she wants to ascend that ladder, is as soon as she will put one foot in front of the other. And that's an amazing power to possess, like the power of allowance to be, like to just come as you are and do as you please, more or less, you know what I mean, without anybody interfering or resisting that unjustifiably. And of course, the other side of that is anyone that has, again, what goes around and comes around, is absolutely finding themselves at the bottom of something or at the start of something, having to rework their vision in some way, shape, or form. But that's just how the scales bounce, So anything that has, by the way, worked as a resistance is what I meant. I don't know if that was clear. Let's see what else we got. I don't think the nut has I guess you don't really need one. The pictures speak for themselves, kind of, but like that one was a little tricky for me because I'm like, 6 of Wands, what was that? That was a strange sound. Strange alert. Okay. 4 of Swords, yeah, relax and relaxation. Relax and relaxation. So obviously there's a double emphasis on that for a reason, like as if somebody needs to be told a couple times, like it's okay to relax. It's okay to be in a receptive posture. A relaxed posture is, I don't even know if it's receptive. I can't even say it's expectation. It's just like somebody, it feels like not really having an expectation or not being too pressed for anything. As a matter of fact, here, this 4 of Swords. Like you don't really, I don't know how to, let me move on. She's so relaxed. You know what I mean? It's like when you're that type of relaxed, it's like you're not lacking anything, you're not needing anything, you're not necessarily in anticipation or resistance, you're just in submission. Like whenever it comes, it comes. However it comes, it comes. Whoever comes, they come. That's the 4 of Swords in this picture anyway. Let me lift it up. I keep forgetting. It's kind of dark down there. That's the 4 of Swords. And in some ways, it's like a resolution that there really is nothing to be done. Like there's nothing at least particularly strenuous, maybe more so to worry about. That's what it is. More than the doing is more so like the thinking with the swords, like, and particularly thoughtful and maybe sometimes over thoughtful about your next move or what's coming next or what you should do. It's like with the Six of Coins, there's a certain inevitability with that Six of Coins to me. And it feels mild because it's not a major card, but it's like to me, it's speaking like you've done the work, you've set the intentions, you've asserted your will, you have taken proper measures or, made wise investments, choices, perhaps, connections, all of that. So it's like, what more, at this point, ain't nothing left to do but walk up the ladder, I guess, maybe. But really, it's like, what more do you demand or command of yourself, particularly of what you may even be aligning yourself externally, demands that you may be aligning yourself with externally, of what you think is being asked of your time and commanded of your creativity. It actually might not be nearly as aggressive as we impose that energy to be on ourselves, is what I'm trying to say. Sometimes it's hard to just sit down somewhere for fear that we're not being as productive as we should be, but sometimes that's all you can do, and that's all you need to do, because the rest has already been done or is being taken care of for you, or at least out of your control. So there's definitely an emphasis on a release of control here. Six of Swords. Yeah, because moving forward. And yeah, look at this. Look how, what I say. I said she too relaxed. Feet up on the top edge of the couch, hanging over, head upside down. She getting a head rush in that position. Could be, potentially. It's like a rush to the senses to have the liberty to be so calm, to be so cool and collected when, for all intents and purposes, you really don't know what the future holds, but you believe, and maybe in some ways are starting to surely cultivate that Aquarius era knowing, hopefully slowly but surely, that you're always moving in the proper trajectory when you're moving in with prosperous intentions. And I don't mean profitable intentions. I mean specifically prosperous. To be well, to do well, to have well. Yeah. So Six of Swords is like, now you're having some type of support, is where you may have had a challenge surrendering to this experience of life here, where there's not much work to be done, or everything is working like clockwork, whatever that means. There's nothing to really worry about, to now having affirming assistance in that regard, where your environment is starting to support that reality, will produce, I guess, that reality where it doesn't have to be manufactured or manipulated by you. It's just a natural order, like you just naturally take care of yourself, because that's you don't fight with your self-care routine. You don't fight with yourself about just sitting down and doing nothing, or taking a nap when you're tired, or saying no to certain things like social functions or just being out and about and busy to rather stay home and do and chill, put your feet up on the edge of the couch. It's like you don't put the pressure on yourself anymore to live the way that you truly desire to live, and perhaps the way that up until now or a certain point it's been hard to believe you deserve to live. Because I think that's been the part, that's been the pivotal transformation, is like the belief of what you deserve, and even more than that, what's possible for you. So once you realize there's a possibility and a potentiality, then you have to take it personally. And that's the hard part, because of the conditioning of what work, the climate, the culture of work teaches us collectively, that you really should be earning moments such as these to be worry free, and to care for yourself with no particular motive other than the care itself. You know what I mean? Like, not for any specific reason other than just because you want to and deserve to and have the means to and have the time to. And feels very luxurious here. As a matter of fact, back to the Six of Coins, because I keep seeing it more as an apartment. It might be even gearing up for the upgrades in your material world that once upon a time you weren't so sure you were in the market for, when it would ever be conducive for you, i.e. going from an apartment to a house, or going from a fixer-upper to something more luxurious and more refined. This is definitely refinery here at its best with that Six of Swords. Getting a massage, chilling out. And we know a massage is absolutely not a necessity, but for some that might have been something that you felt like you needed to book or have for a special occasion, like your birthday or girl's day or whatever. But shoot, it might be a weekly occurrence for you. I don't know. Or might begin to be. Nine of Swords. Oh, look at this. Is that like Ken? Oh, shoot, that's funny. Nine of Swords. Look at the little kids in the background. I've never seen this one before. The cards got a little bent. I'm trying to get them back to life a little bit. I love the matte on these cards, by the way. It's so smooth and clean. I wish I could know like who her manufacturer is, because I really like this finish. It's like 12:30 on the clock. The colors, like the saturation of the images, I like how they look, but I also like the feel and the weight and consistency of the cards. Definitely worth it, I would say, if you're interested for a fun deck. Anyway, Nine of Swords is just, this is some type of worry, but I mean, it ain't you. This is a man. I mean, you could, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels like a change of energy suddenly, but I don't feel like it's like what it could be if you have children or if you have a partner or something. It could be a relief, because what's missing in that picture is Barbie, mommy Barbie. So it could be, again, this release of guilt or obligations that that trump ultimately, or not trump, what's the word the word I wanted to use, like almost like cancel out, your plans for yourself. Case in point, for moms that know, putting everybody first but yourself. There's more balance here. Maybe even a little bit of imbalance of caring for self a bit more tipped on the scales than usual, just to balance out the past frequencies, you know, where you were having to be everybody for everyone. And it doesn't have to be a husband, a wife, a husband, kids, or partner, or whatever. It could be even at the job or to your extended or immediate family, outside of your home, where as soon as you get a call or somebody needs something, or there's an event or this or that, like you drop everything and run, or drop everything and go, no matter what you need or have going on for yourself, mentally, spiritually, physically, because that takes precedence over you. No, it's the switcheroo. It's the switcheroo. And it's I feel like a relief of mom guilt that many of us have, to care for ourselves, to separate during times, you know, to kind of like create some level of detachment at times when we just need, you know, the space and opportunity to be with ourselves, just to be with our own thoughts, for crying out loud. And I'm sure men have their version of that too, that's much respected by me. So anyone is considered here, but I feel like it's important that mom is missing in this card, and maybe it's even like finding a way to delegate or relieve some of your responsibilities that we take on as moms, saying like, no, I can't trust it. If I don't do it, it ain't gonna get done right, or it might not get done at all, type of energy. Maybe it's time to relieve yourself of some of that pressure and responsibility so that you can effectively have these moments of peace that you deserve, you know? So something like that. You ain't got to be the handy woman in your life anymore to fix everything, to put things back together, to have resolution for everyone in the unit or in the house or in the environment, in the association, whatever it is. It's not on you. And you are okay with that unapologetically, because that's the catalyst. Like when you have guilt about how accessible your energy is, and that's the broader scheme, it don't have to be mom or nothing like that, but how accessible your energy is outside of you, as opposed to being conserved and nurtured by you. Wait, what was I gonna say? Did I say that? Shoot, I forget what I just said. Was it the guilt part? Did I say something about guilt? When you have guilt, I forget. Damn. Hold on, let me get another one. That fast. It just came and went. Did I say? I said hold on, that's going to distract me. When you are giving to everyone outside of you as opposed to conserving and nurturing it for you. I don't know where I was going with that, but it was crystal clear when I started. But just off of the tip of that, it's depleting, maybe even depressing. You know, and sometimes you can get caught up again in the rhetoric that, well, I'm mom and this is just what we do. This is what's expected of us, and it's only me, or this and that. But where there's a will, back to the first card, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way to find that perfect balance, or nothing's ever perfect, but find a productive balance. All right. 10 of Swords, golly. Woo, from the 9 to the 10. So that progressed quickly, steadily. Look at this. She's a daggone electric chair. What is that about? That's hilarious. Where did these images come from? I'm so intrigued. It ain't this many damn types of Barbies in the world. Well, it's a doll house. I take it as Barbie because they kind of look like Barbies, but they're dolls. 10 of Swords. So something is coming to an end, but it could be, as I'm saying this, like it could be coming, what's ending is sacrificing yourself, you know, betraying your own time, your own needs, your own desires, you know, betraying your ambitions, forfeiting your ambitions for the sake of others, great or small, because really there is no scale. You know, when it's yours, it's yours. And if it's a small thing, it's a big thing, it's a big thing. It's no small thing to you. So if there's any sacrifice on account of, you know, anything outside of yourself or on account of someone else, it's an opportunity to put an end to that before you burn out. Ultimately, that's all. That's what that Ten of Swords looks like to me. Like literally burning out, frying your mind, your brain, like to the point where you may, you know, be on autopilot at times, just going through the motions, doing the routine of your life, and accepting it for what it is without really checking in, you know, checking your own temperature, regarding how that's affecting you or what you're getting out of that. That's an ending. That's the end of that. We'll just do one more. I think. Maybe two. I don't know. Maybe two. Let's see. So this is really all about like really taking it easy, relaxing, and allowing the work and the investments that you've already made to come back to you. You know, it's like the work you're putting in now is for some other future time. Like you already got a lot of stock piled up, ready to disperse, you know. Things that you wouldn't even, maybe just the selflessness of your position as a woman, as a man, as a whatever, is what has earned you a particular right of relaxation and ease. And what's another word for relaxation? Like peace, surely, but there's something else I want to say, like something about like respite, maybe, where you've been doing so much and now it's finally time to, like, you know, have a seat, lay down, kick back, maybe put your feet up. And it never feels like it's a good time to do that. Consider the mom effect, where you never feel like your work is done. You could clean the house from top to bottom and still feel like there's something more to do, you know, because life continues to go on and on and on. There's always something to look forward to. But at some point in time, you have to enjoy the space that you have created energetically and physically. Let me take this. Ooh, 9 of Coins. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That's that single, self-sufficient card that we all love. The women, most of us women love so much. Because single doesn't mean you're not coupled. It doesn't have to anyway. It doesn't even mean, in this case, it doesn't mean you're lonely or by yourself. It just means that you can handle yourself, you know. You can handle yourself. You can take care of your own. And if you have a partner or you have friends, a collective or whatever that contributes to that, cool, so be it. But it's not there. There's no lackluster because it's just you. Look at her, for crying out loud. I mean, look at her. She looks amazing. I love those little pants and I love that hair, you know. So it's like, and look at the contrast from going from this, you know, like a almost never mind, to this. You can see the difference. I'm trying to be more mindful of the trigger words that I use, but the D sentence here with the 10 of Swords, I try to oblige YouTube here and there as I can, but you know, for the most part, I also don't believe and censoring messages like this too much, because this is spiritual news just like regular news, and then regular news doesn't censor itself. They trauma dump all types of stuff into the collective consciousness. So why the hell should truth tellers be taxed for just calling it how they see it? You know, like, y'all gonna put some respect on these. No, you're not really going to. Yeah, you're not going to before it's too late. But at some point in time, these social platforms are going to put respect on the spiritual community, because a lot of that's a it's carrying a lot of these platforms, the revenue and the viewers and subscribers that are engaged to these types of channels are contributing a lot more to the bottom line of these social platforms than they care to admit, and also that they care to pay out, which is why they start putting all these extra restrictions to try to keep as much money in their pockets as possible. Because the truth is not only prosperous, but it's profitable in the right spaces, and in this one it absolutely is. So anyway, with the nine of coins, like, it could just, it's not just about being lonesome or even single. It's about establishing your own independence and identity, even within spaces where there is co-creativity, maybe even collaboration or co-creation, partnership in some way, shape, or form, or even where there's just coexistence, still finding comfort and esteem with who you are, and the values that you've established for your life, personally, professionally, creatively, spiritually, religiously, whatever the case may be, morally, because those are important to you, and establishing them in a concrete way that they can't be imposed upon, because ultimately those are the principles that have built someone. Look at the transition, if you will. Like I was saying, like, look how much more what's the word I used, refined this space here looks, just in that little corner, compared to where we start. There is an escalation here, there's an advancement, a progression, a prospering that has happened here, particularly on account of decisions made to be receptive to this reality. It couldn't be without that reception. Where some of you might be really thriving in your career or in your business, in your practices, whatever that is, like your own personal presentation. And it may not even be all that constructive as it is just having a wonderful balance of life established by you, for you, that you have ultimately commanded in one way or another your environment to bend to, your reality to take shape into. This is like almost like the work, then maybe the visualizing of how it could be, like where the couch I could be sprawled across right now, or the house that I can't wait to buy, and the upgrade, and like the nurturing in your of your supreme self sometimes happens in those like mundane or seemingly like even superficial practices, like, oh, you don't need that. But if it adds value to your to your life, then you do need that, and you don't have to justify it. In addition to the changes that get to be made, so that it's not just so that there is just as much of a releasing of things you don't need as there is an acceptance of the things that you feel you do, even if it's just a matter of desire, with, reasonably, considerably so, justifiably so. Well, the Nine of Coins is the payoff. That means that coupled or single, employed or entrepreneur, stay-at-home mom, or partner, firm partner, I don't know, whatever, like on any scale of creativity or professionalism or just existence, this is how you show up mentally, spiritually, physically, feeling good, looking good, having good things amount from your intentions, from your commands, from your and your visions. Yeah, something really powerful about this. I love how this card looks, this Nine of Cups, because it's so feminine in many ways, but it's also very assertive as well to me. She looks like a boss lady, that's very comfortable in her femininity and not dialing it back at all. So there's something about that as well. And her outfit is so creative. If this is even a professional setting, which I think it's not, I feel like it feels more residential than anything, but it could be. Regardless, this could just be somebody like running their life like a damn boss, business or no. Your estate, you run it like a well-oiled machine, because you've again delegated some tasks, alleviated some pressures, given yourself permissions to pamper and to take care of yourself when you need to, relieve some of the mental pressures, and tensions that you may feel on account of all the other stuff. And this is the outcome. It could be a matter of hiring a cleaning service so you don't have to do that as much. You don't have to be the maintenance man and the cleaning person, so you have more time for something else. It could be a matter of maybe you have, maybe not hiring a chef, but having a chef or something, because I know there are ways that you can have like a chef prepare meals for you, so that's one less, not physically, but menus for you. So there's one less thing you got to put your mind to think about, like, oh, well, I'll just pull this one out. Maybe even for some folks that do like vector meals or those like prepared meals and stuff like that during the week help shave a little bit of time and anxiety off of the chores and stuff like that. So there's a range of things practically that can be done to alleviate pressure and give you more space and time and opportunity to really spoil yourself. That's the point here. Spoil. I don't like spoil. Pamper yourself. Nurture yourself. And to me, the Nine of Coins also is the evidence that it all has value, even when you think it doesn't. Like, it all rolls up to this high value of your sovereignty over your spiritual being. Like what's projected from the outside, from the inside out, and what's projected as your outer shell, in the physical form, is all for the purposes of nurturing that force, and that, like I said, that it has value. It's the Nine of Coins. It's not just cups, you know, not just a good feeling or an idea or a sentiment. This is this is saying that the things that I'm saying are valuable, you know, here, and then the things that you know are valuable for you that I may not have mentioned, are actually going to add wealth to your life. So you might think you're saving a buck or a dime or some time or energy, not doing a thing that you really, really want to do, or not doing something that you know really, you know, that you truly benefit from, but it may cause for a sacrifice in some other regard or submission to some other idea. But really, you're cheating yourself if you don't. You know, like you're actually leaving some money on the table, is what I'm saying here. So, Five of Wands. Oh, shoot, they fight. Five of Wands. And it might be hard to fight. Nine of Cups. Oh, and look at this with all these damn packs. Oh, snap. Yeah, like energies may fight you on this resolution. You may fight yourself. You know, might be this Five of Wands could very much even be an internal struggle with what you know is real, you know, but it could also be the competition or the resistance that you could face on account of looking to activate this experience for yourself. There could be some pushback. There could even be some jealousy or some competition that's aroused when you start to make certain self-care, self-love choices. Maybe even from people that are in that, you know, energy that's close to you, or that are used to being used to having a certain level of access to your energy, one way or another. But you got to let that battle hash itself out somewhere on the sidelines and keep yourself out of it. The Nine of Cups is blissfulness that is, you know, that really isn't so vulnerable to, I don't know how to say it, like to energy such as this Five of Wands. It's like the Nine of Cups. It's the spiritual resonance of esteem, you know, where you're pleased with who you are and so on and so forth. So once you find yourself, once you find that you're established, your footing in that regard, where these are the things, I mean, having a whole room of handbags might make some people happy. I don't know, it could. But it's really about the containment of your peace and your and the things that make you feel fulfilled, that make you feel like you are living well, you know, or living to the standard that you desire to do so. Whatever's in them handbags has its own value for whomever. And for some, it could evoke, again, like a certain envy or an abstinence or resistance to want to push back against that reality. Even in what I'm saying just now, folks that may have something to say or may even take a particular action about how well you live your life, because they may not be having that experience, or they don't know how to, or they don't think that you need to do all that or have all that, or you should, if you are a certain type of person, you shouldn't even, you know, like you shouldn't even be so materialistic or so superficial or whatever, you know, like you'll get all types of things hurled at you, almost insultingly, to tarnish that spirit that you've cultivated for yourself. And I'm just saying, just let that live out there. Whatever it is, it's here, and it's the only kind of like, well, the six, the not, where is it? The 10 of Swords is a thing, but I feel that I read that energy differently than what it traditionally is. But the Five of Wands is depicting exactly what it is. There's conflict, there is resistance, there's pushback. And it may be against you, it may be coming, the call may be coming from inside the house in some way, shape, or form. However, you have to stand firm on the business of loving yourself in this season, especially in the ways that are just justified, to do so. Like, justified by you. I ain't talking about like going over and being reckless or being wasteful when there are other responsibilities to care for. That's something different. Nine of Coins says that everything's taken care for. The bills are cool. I got money in the bank. My investments are thriving. My kids are prosperous. My honey is happy, for the most part. He just wants to make me happy, so therefore he's happy that I'm happy, right? Right. But, like I said, at first, this transition of adjustment going from, like I said, Six of Coins to this luxurious, full, life as it is for some. It might not be that luxurious of a transition to many, but everybody has their own version of this from wherever you started or wherever you are. It has value. It has great value. As a matter of fact, it's precious. So don't let anybody don't let anybody challenge you on that or make you recoil from that, especially as you continue to see the evidence with these coins and things like that of how this way of life actually obviously works for you. It obviously works well for you. You can't impose that on anybody else, and you can't necessarily propose to have the blueprint for your brand of life. But if it works for you, then what any other objections outside of the law of the land and spiritual law are null and void. They really don't matter. Opinions, criticisms, attacks, verbal or otherwise, it'll just, you know, roll right off your back if you allow it to. And then they'll have something else to be irritated about. This is the energy of somebody living their best life unbothered under all the circumstances, under any circumstances, and they're unapologetic about it. And I feel like 1:00 on the dot, if you have established the foundation to do that by your work and your intentions and your envisioning and visualizing and whatever else you do to create, then you have earned the right to have it. Period. I don't know why I feel like I need to keep saying that, but maybe there are some of us that are still on the edge of that feeling of that, between that space of deserving and unworthy, like what's deserving and what's doing too much, you know what I mean? So nobody can really set that limitation or not, or lack of, but you. Don't let nobody else set it for you. Not even people that you think would have your best interest at heart, because nobody can know what you need better than you do. And the divine is so obliged to disperse it at your command. That's what I say. At your energetic command, which started way back here. Maybe when you were just grateful to have your little studio apartment or your 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom apartment or your starter house, and now you in your dream home, your forever home, or whatever, like it's all about maintaining that spirit of gratitude throughout all of the various levels and stages of your life, up, down, round, and round, and always looking forward to, you know, the highest possible result, to the bitter end, and then back again. And then that becomes the cyclical vitality of yourself and perhaps even your legacy, that we strip down all of that doing too much energy or an undeserving, unworthy energy and start just living in the pure, authentic desires of our heart, and recognizing that even something so primitive has a great value, not just to yourself but to other people. You being your better self, your best self, your most whole, supreme self, in every way, shape, and form, has more value to you and anyone else you might encounter than you sacrificing your needs and desires for some, you know, fa- some false righteous ideal. All right. So anyway, I guess that's it. I don't know. Like, thanks to the Ghetto Nut for these amazing cards. That's so fun. Hopefully I got the message across for what is necessary in this season. And it's kind of, there's starting to be a pattern and a theme here, of really gearing up to solidify your sovereignty, really own it and embrace it. And not demonize that word, especially in the spiritual or religious sense that maybe many of us have been conditioned to do so, or culturally, we've been conditioned to do so. It's time to really, step into those shoes, step into that position of just being fly and fabulous for no reason at all. Even in your sweatpants, even in your ripped jeans, but especially in your furs and in your leathers. Even in your sneakers, but especially in your cute little shoe booties. You know what I'm saying? Like, just literally living a fabulous life with no apologies is your divine right. Get into it. Get into it. Let it get into you. All right, so thank you for listening. Thank you for watching again. Happy Friday. Be safe out there. Still a lot of snow on my street, but it is slowly but surely trying to melt out of here. But I'm sure there are places, I know, matter of fact, there are places where folks are not so lucky, and the terrain is not so safe. So if you are one of those people, definitely be careful out there. Take your time. Stay home if you don't need to go out, but also get some air if you haven't been out in a while, like me, because I haven't. And I'm kind of excited to get some fresh air and be out and about for a little bit today, but I will be definitely safe and precautious all the way. So I hope you are as well. Anyway, thanks again. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.